What's up, guys? I hope you all are doing well. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video, guys, we will be looking at exercise 44 of our Python exercise tutorial series. Without any further ado, let's get to it. Exercise 44. Write a function that takes three numbers as parameters and returns the median value of those parameters as its result. Include a main program that reads three values from the user and displays their median. Hint: the median value is the middle of the three values when they are sorted into ascending order. It can be found using if statements or with a little bit of mathematical creativity. Okay, guys, so the basic aim of this Python program, is going to be basically, given three numbers, can we efficiently and effectively find, the median value? And the median value is basically the middle value from those three. So there's several ways. Now the program also tells us, right? They gave us one way to actually find that median value. They told us it's the middle out of the three values when it's sorted into ascending order. Ascending order is smallest to largest. Now that's one way to find the median, which is why they even mentioned it can be found using if statements or with a little bit of mathematical creativity, because basically there's more than one way to actually find the median value, right, with regards to math formula, right, or math formulae. So let's do this. First, I will show you two ways in which you can actually grab the median from those three values. For now, we begin as normal. As you know, we'll have a main function. That main function will be responsible for taking in the input. So three values, I'll call mine x, y, and z to make life easy for us. So we'll float the input, giving the user the ability to enter, some decimal values. I think it'll give the program a lot more flexibility and a much more, I would say, adaptability, by giving the user the ability to enter decimal values if they want. So please enter the first value, XYZ, and we'll just change this up here. So we'll make it second and third. Yep, that's good. Output will be given by the main program. For now, all we need to do is, let's just have a print, statement or print function. An interesting thing, I was actually doing a bit of reading. So like the reason why sometimes, in Python, people refer to this print keyword, they refer to it as a print statement or a print function. So basically Python 3, in Python 3, it's actually called the print function, right? Because the print has a pair of parentheses attached to it. Whereas in Python 2, if you are familiar, you probably came across this code though. In Python 2, the print used to be like this, right? Without parentheses. So in Python 2, it was actually called a print statement because of the fact that there's no parentheses. Because as you know, functions require a pair of parentheses or brackets. So that's the basic idea. I thought that would be cool to, share with you guys. So with regards to output, we're just going to print from the main function the median value is, and we'll just leave this as is for now, right? Percentage, and we have to float percentage.2f. Yeah, and that should be good, right? That's formatting for the placeholder. Now let's set up the functions that's going to be doing the processing for us. Okay, so first things first, we'll define, let's just call this median. And remember guys, we are passing three parameters. So to avoid confusion, what I will do is most likely just pass these as maybe x, y, or z, or we can pass them as a, b, and c. All right, don't get confused guys. The variables taking in input are x, y, and z, and the parameters are going to be set up with a, b, and c. These parameters will receive, x, y, and z. So that's fine, nothing too major there. Anyway, let's do this. So using maths, we need, remember, we are attempting to sort these three values in ascending order without using any built-in Python keywords or any sort of internal help from Python. We are using the base syntax to do our program. Now, the way in which we'll actually proceed to manually sort a list will be using the greater than and less than signs, right? So I'm going to proceed to set something up here. I'll explain it shortly. If you understand at first glance, that's super good, right? So let's do a less than b and b less than c. So that's the first one, or a greater than b and b greater than c. So guys, take a moment to look at this, right? This is interesting. Essentially, we are passing these three parameters and then we're checking, right, if a is less than b, right? So let's just say we have a. I'm just going to shuffle these in order, in a random order, right? Let's just say we have, B, C, A, right? These are the same parameters we're working with, or the same values, right? Now, if A is less than B and B is less than C, that's the first one we look at. So A is less than B, which means B is greater than A, which means A can get placed first in the order now, in the ordered kind of assortment or arrangement. A is less than B, which means A can be placed first. B is less than C, which means B comes next and then C. So now looking at this, right, this first condition effectively applies the logic to get the parameters in the order of A, B, and C. In other words, in that ascending order as required. Now, let's work with this BCA again. Now let's look at it in terms of this. If A is greater than B, okay, so A is greater than B. So let's just place A there for now as the first value. Now, A is greater than B tells us that B is less than A. And B is greater than C. And if B is greater than C, it tells us that C comes first. So once again, guys, look, this is the actual sorted order. B is in the middle, right? If we follow that logic. B is in the middle, and that's why from here, we can basically return B, because B is the median. Now, I do hope this explanation makes sense. It's quite easy to understand, and I'm 100% positive that you guys are understanding what I'm talking about. Essentially, this is the manual way in which the sorting of a list takes place. Right? This is on a small scale because we are only comparing three values. Right? So if you don't want to use, Python has an inbuilt method, sorted. So behind this sorted, function, what happens is basically checks, several checks of the values and on the values. Okay, so let's set up the remaining decision making. So that was the first one, and the next we can do if b is less than a and a is less than c, or this is the second one we have. So return a, because it's the same logic. Now, one thing also I'd like to mention, you see, majority of the time when we don't understand something in Python, seriously, that concept, whatever it is we don't understand, is not difficult at all. We have the ability to, to handle it. We can handle it easily. Now, the most important thing though is that we need to take time and we need to basically provide sample input, right? For example, if I give you this code as is, if I just tell you, you know what, guys, this is the code we have that's going to basically solve this problem. And what problem? Guys, this is the code that's going to allow us to find the middle or the median value of any three given numbers. And if I do that without any explanations, the truth is you will understand that, and you can understand that 100% all by yourself. All right, this is just a bit of motivation and a bit of insight I'm giving you. Essentially, all you really need to do is sit down and provide sample input, dummy input into this entire code setup, and automatically you will understand what's happening. As in our case, right? I've taken this first condition and I've explained how, manually, what's happening manually behind the scenes. All those values are getting sort of arranged as a result of the checks that's being applied. So that's just something I want to mention, because at the moment, right, I am busy with a data structures and algorithms class in Python. And don't get me wrong, DSA is one of like the more, I would say, daunting, in inverted commas, daunting topics in Python, but it's really not that hard if you think about it, because literally data structures and algorithms is mostly, I would say it relies on maths. It relies on a good deal of math. But apart from that, right, it also relies on the fact that if I give you the complete code, for example, for a stack, right? A stack is one of those data structures. I know I am deviating, but I'm just trying to get a message through to you. If I give you the complete code for a stack without any explanations, right, there's a 50% chance, or maybe even greater, that you will understand exactly what that stack code is about. And how could you do this? If you literally just take the time to provide dummy input to the stack and trace literally each bit of logic. What's happening in the code? Why is this being compared to that? Or why is that there? Why is this portion of code placed here? What is this doing? Basically, see the flow of input and output. And I guarantee you, I can give you a good amount of assurance that whatever code you are looking at will make complete sense to you, right? Just by you manually tracing the flow of input and output. So we kind of deviated there. Let's come back to our problem. That was a good discussion though. So B is less than C, or, and one thing you may wonder now, why are there two checks? Why are there two checks that's like being done on the same value, right? Because what I mean is, see, let's take this first one for instance, or let's take the second one. Since we worked with the first one, I explained, let's look at this one. So you may ask yourself, why are there sort of two checks? Two checks where, as in, this is the first check. The first condition is basically a complex condition because there's a use of and then we see the or here, which means that basically if this one is true, right, B is greater than A and A is greater than C, right, if that one is true, or if this one is true, A is still going to be returned as the median. Now the reason as to why that happens is basically because there's two ways to look at the assortment or the arrangement. You can look at the value being less than or greater than, right? I explained the concept when we were talking about this first one, right? You saw those two arrangements. Even though we had two different arrangements, B, or well, in the first case, right, B was still the middle value. And if we have to manually solve for this one, you'll see that there's two arrangements and A is still the middle value. So that's basically the logic behind that. Let's move on to returning C. So C is the last one that's pending. Now guys, believe it or not, we've actually completed this program, right? This program is done. One thing I'd like to do, first I'd like to test this program. We'll see if the first function we defined worked, and then I'll define another function that will, be much simpler and easier, that'll show us how to grab that median or middle value. So I'm going to provide us some formatting for the function. So for the placeholder, sorry. So X, Y, and Z, this should be all. And let's go ahead and run this. But before I run, see, I always forgot I think 2 times or so in the previous lectures or classes, and now I remembered that I need to call main function. So let's do this. Please enter the first value. Let's be fancy and provide some decimal, values. Middle of the 3. So let's try to catch the program. We'll make the second value the middle value, and let's see if it picks that up. So middle value. So we need to go in ascending order. So I've passed 5.65. Maybe now I'll pass, 4, and then I'll pass 3. So in this way, or in this setup of input, 4 is the middle value. So we expect 4. And excellent. The program is working. Let's do this again. I'm just entering random values. So maybe we want to do, just some random stuff. And the median value is that. Yeah, that's good, guys. The program is working. So now I want to show you another way to grab the median value. And again, all of these formulae are basically maths, right? It's maths. It's median, is a statistic value or statistic kind of measure. So using the maths, the appropriate maths, you'll be able to grab that value. So let's just call this alternate median. So again, we are passing A, B, C, and now I'm returning from here A plus B plus C minus. So guys, one thing I'll tell you is that you see the median is basically equal to, if I take all three numbers, if I sum those numbers, and if I subtract the minimum and maximum from those numbers, I'm going to be left with a value, and that value is the median. So this is another way in which you can do it. And this, as you are seeing now, we are using some built-in keywords in Python, A, B, C, and since we've minused the minimum value from A, B, and C, we proceed to minus or subtract the maximum value from A, B, C. And A, B, C are our parameters that's going to be propagated through the function. That should be all. So let's sort this out a bit, do we? Minimum, well, these brackets will be solved first, and we left with addition and subtraction, so it doesn't make a difference. Yeah, we can leave it as is. That should be good. Now let's do there we go, the median value using the alternate function is %.2f, their placeholder, and we are calling alternate median function, and we are passing in x, y, and z. That should be good. So the reason why I've left the former print statement we've been working with is because it will allow us to ensure, that if both functions are giving a value that basically matches or is the same, then we know that both functions are working properly. So I think it's time we go ahead and run this. Let's do some fancy decimal values. I'm just entering random stuff. So that should be good. Let's see. The median value is 439. The median value using the alternate is 439. That's good. So maybe now we want to do, let's do some, maybe 100, or let's do maybe 500. Maybe we want to do, oh, I pressed enter. Okay, let's do that again. 500, maybe 350 or 340, and maybe we want to do, let's see, so 340 is the lowest, 500 is the middle. Yeah, let's do something larger than 500. Yeah, so 500 is the median value. And that's that. We've successfully and efficiently and effectively completed exercise 44 of our Python exercise tutorial series. This video, guys, is actually clocking 19 minutes, 20 minutes or so. So, with that, we'll end the video here. Thanks for watching and staying till the end of the video, guys. Do make sure to leave a like for the video if you are learning something or you just like the amount of effort that's being put into these tutorials. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel, if you would like to follow along on this educational journey. And with that, good luck with your work, and I'll see you in the next YouTube video.